Take 2 parts black coffee and 1 part dog saliva, and you have the most powerful pre-workout that you could ever imagine. All right, seriously, I'm gonna cut right to the chase, and I'm gonna teach you how to make a fasting-friendly pre-workout. Most pre-workouts that are on the market will break your fast and even potentially kick you out of a ketogenic state. So why not just make one for literally pennies on the dollar? It's super, super cheap, super simple, and this is what I do. So I'm gonna teach you how to make a pre-workout with ingredients that you can get from Amazon super cheap, you can probably find in your pantry, and you can rock and roll. So there's not gonna be any BCAAs in them, there's not gonna be any sweeteners, no excitotoxins, which I'll talk about, but you're still gonna be able to get pump, focus, and fat loss to a serious degree, all backed by science. So let's go ahead, let's dive into this. But first, you are tuned in to the internet's leading performance, nutrition, and fat loss channel. New videos every single Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and a bunch of other videos in between. Hit that subscribe button, and also check that little bell button so you can turn on notifications. So I don't wanna waste your time again, let's get right to it. All right, first thing that you're gonna add to it, black coffee, all right? Black coffee or cold brew. No surprise there, this is your base, okay? Your base is your coffee. Now, the real reason we want coffee for a fat loss effect is because it is what is called a phosphodiesterase inhibitor. Okay, what this does, in very fancy words, summed down, is it prevents the inactivation of something that would normally stop body fat from being burned. So at an enzymatic level, it puts a process in place so that your body is allowed to release its fat. Normally, your body is like, oh, I'm gonna hold on to fat, I'm gonna hold on to my own tissue because it's important and I need it. The phosphodiesterase inhibitors allow that stuff to be released. It unlocks the gate, so super important. Plus, we get a big dopamine surge from it. You ever notice that the second the coffee hits your tongue, you feel good? It's not just the energy, you're literally getting a dopamine response, and that's a lot of what expensive pre-workouts on the market are doing for you anyway. They're just giving you a dopamine response. You're gonna get that from your coffee, save your money. Okay, now the next thing that you're gonna add to it is citrulline. Now, literally, you could go on Amazon and you can get citrulline for like a couple of dollars that'll last you a few months. I'm talking cheap, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna just put maybe a few hundred milligrams of citrulline in there, okay? You can play with the dose yourself. I can't tell you exact dosage, especially on YouTube. It's just not the right thing to do because everyone's gonna have a different dosage need. But a few hundred milligrams of citrulline is all you need. Now, what citrulline does is it converts to arginine in the body. Most people think that you can just consume arginine and you're gonna get a really cool muscle pump. Arginine breaks down really quick in the body. You need citrulline because citrulline converts to arginine, so it doesn't break down. It converts into what you need. And that converts into nitric oxide, which gets you a bunch more blood flow. It gets more oxygen delivery. Okay, that's exactly what we need. It vasodilates so you can get blood into the muscles. You literally get a pump. You can get more blood to the brain so you feel better, feel more alert. And it's so cheap. That's like a main staple point in most expensive pre-workouts. Same kind of thing. But we're not dealing with the BCAAs that break a fast. By the way, the reason branched chain amino acids break a fast is because of the leucine, and that's it. Leucine spikes your insulin. I love branched chain amino acids as much as the next guy, but they do knock you out of a fast, okay? Next up is beta-alanine. You ever take a pre-workout and know that you get that like tingly feeling? It just makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to like lift something, I have to move my hands. That's the beta-alanine. We don't know why it causes a tingly sensation, but it's kind of a cool like side effect. I mean, it's cool, it makes you feel like you need to move. But the real reason we want beta-alanine in there is because it helps produce carnosine. Carnosine is very important. You see, when we're creating energy, when we are flexing a muscle and moving a muscle, we have ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that is being created and regenerated and phosphorylized at a massive, massive speed. What happens is that causes a big influx of hydrogen. And when we have a lot of hydrogen, the muscle gets super acidic. You ever get that lactic acid burn where you can't push it anymore? That's because you have a large influx of hydrogen, okay? So what happens is carnosine buffers that. So carnosine comes in and neutralizes the acid, but we run out of it quick. And when we get to that lactic acid fatigue where we can't push anymore, it's because we've run out of carnosine. Beta-alanine is critical to the production of carnosine. So beta-alanine boosts your stamina significantly. There are studies that show that people get 10–20% more stamina in their workouts simply by adding beta-alanine because they can produce carnosine faster and buffer that lactic acid effect. Okay, super powerful. Next up, salt. So important, okay? So many people keep the salt out of their pre-workouts or they keep the salt out of their diet because they're afraid they're gonna look puffy. That's not how it works. If you have regular salt, yes, you will get puffy because it's unopposed sodium that's going to draw water to the subcutaneous tissue. The reason we want it in a pre-workout is because we want the fluid volume. Okay, we want a little bit more blood pressure at a specific time, because what it's going to do is it's going to make it so the heart doesn't have to work as hard. If you start to lose your salt, which you will immediately, as soon as you start working out, you have less blood volume. The heart has to work harder to deliver more oxygen. It has to work harder to deliver the same amount of oxygen that it normally would, but now there's less blood. So it's working really hard. So your heart rate gets way higher and you don't get as good of a workout in. Super important. Plus we have what's called the osmotic effect, okay, the isotonic state. What that means is we have water that gets drawn into our muscle. So I've explained it like this before. If you have a water balloon here and a water balloon here, and one has salt in it and one does not, the water from the water balloon without the salt is going to magically just draw into the water balloon with the salt. Simply because salt draws in water. So if we have good salt, like good quality salt, what's going to happen is the water is going to get drawn into the muscle and you're going to get more intracellular volume. So that's going to give you more internal leverage. The bigger the muscle because of water, the more leverage from a physics standpoint it has to actually create force. You get stronger. And you also have amino acids that are sodium dependent. Okay, certain amino acids can't do their job unless you have salt. So it's very important you add salt to the mix. Now you could use any salt, but the reality is if you use a salt like Redmond's Real Salt, they have it down. So a big fan of them. They're awesome. They literally are mined in Utah. So like here in the States from a North American old seabed that has all the minerals. So just for those of you watching this video that are wanting to make a pre-workout, you can get all these ingredients super cheap on Amazon, but you can also get Redmond Real Salt, the full spectrum salt, cheaper than you would anywhere else if you just get it down in the description. So I just wanted to be able to extend that over to everyone. So again, Redmond Real Salt has the potassium, it has the sodium, it has the full balance there. So again, you can use a regular salt, but honestly, I would highly recommend using one that's a higher quality. And literally, you're gonna be able to get it for much, much cheaper down in the description here than you would online anyway. So you might as well. Okay, optionally, you're gonna be able to add theanine. The reason I say optionally is because this is if you want a little bit more focus. Now, theanine gets a little bit more expensive, okay, right? Coffee, dirt cheap. Citrulline, dirt cheap. Beta-alanine, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you how much beta-alanine. Again, 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams beta-alanine. You can get these so cheap on Amazon. Redmond Real Salt, you can literally get for a few bucks. It's down in the description. Okay, that's gonna last you months. Okay, theanine gets a little bit more expensive. Still cheap, but it gets a little bit more expensive, so I made it optional. So here's the thing, so theanine resembles glutamate. Glutamate excites you, okay? Glutamate is what gives you anxiety and stuff. So theanine looks like glutamate. So the brain thinks it's glutamate, so it doesn't produce more. So it kind of tricks the brain a little bit, and therefore the brain is like, oh, we have enough glutamate, we don't need to create more. So suddenly you get calm and relaxed, even though you're energized and amped. So imagine being super jacked up and ready to roll, but your mind is cool, calm, collected. It's perfect for an athlete, right? But it also binds to the endothelial cells, so it also increases that NO2 at the site. So you get more blood flow, get more nutrient delivery. Super awesome stuff. So between the salt and the theanine there, you get a nice little mix there that's gonna really help you out. So overall, I hope that this gave you something that you can do in a fasted state to really get the most out of your workout without ever worrying about breaking your fast. If you have questions, please make sure you let me know, and any future ideas for videos, put them down in the comment section. See you soon.